Hello there, welcome to CNR Extra here on Citi TV, coming to you live from our studios at number 5 Ola Hansen Lane, Tesano, Accra. My name is Philip Latte. Coming up, government approves further measures to sustain the country's progress towards economic recovery while committing to support persons affected by the Akosombo Dam spillage. These are the highlights from Cabinet's 3-day retreat.
Some more structural reforms in the medium term, and these include enhancing the public financial management system to ensure that, among other things, all of these arrears that keep being accumulated off book and which come to hurt us from time to time can be dealt with.
Ghana National Fire Service urges public to strictly adhere to safety precautions following Saturday's inferno that affected some 200 shops at the Makola market in Accra.
Anytime there is an incident and people lose their properties, that is always what they see. And the fire service didn't arrive early, and the fire service didn't arrive early. You see, I have always been saying that fire management is a responsibility of all of us.
Residents of Waja call on authorities to reconsider decision to demolish houses along the Waja Dam.
It will cause more damage than good to the person. So I think that they should consider us. They should consider us because you just can't stand up one day just because of the road and those stuff. So you want to demolish people's houses.
And later on CNR Extra, thousands of residents affected by devastating floods caused by the Akosombo Dam spillage receive relief items from Citi FM, Citi TV.
On behalf of the listeners of Citi FM and the viewers of Citi TV, we present this water purifier and all the other items listed here to you, the people.
CNR Extra is live on Citi TV. You can join us on Facebook as we stream there live on Citi TV. And you can also join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments, since it's conversational and interactive. WhatsApp line 0204447033. Hansen Ajimani, welcome to the show. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great.
It's a Monday.
Yeah.
It was a weekend.
Man, it was a stressful but fulfilling weekend, I must say. Took a trip to some of the affected communities in Lower Volta. And beyond that also, had to celebrate with a couple of friends who are now properly so-called esquires.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was a stressful one, but fulfilling, get to do some humanitarian things and also share the joy with friends. It was a good one.
When we get to that part in the course of the show, you share with us the experience, what you really saw when you went to the grounds to distribute the relief items to the affected persons of the Akosombo Dam spillage. But first, let's bring you the first story that government, after the 3-day cabinet retreat, has come out with some measures. And government says that there are going to be sustainable ways to ensure that Ghana comes on with the economic recovery. Let's bring you that insight.
Cabinet has approved further measures to sustain Ghana's progress towards economic recovery. This includes tight spending while focusing on economic stability. This follows a 3-day cabinet retreat which focused on Ghana's economy. There is more in the following report by Citi News' Daniel Sakite and read by Beverlyn Langdon.
Ghana's economy has faced devastating challenges, which led the government to seek a $3 billion bailout from the International Monetary Fund while citizens reeled under economic pressures. The government says the economy is gradually seeing some positive signs, with inflation, which was at an all-time high last year, now reduced to 38.1%. Providing an update on Ghana's post-crisis program for economic growth after a cabinet retreat, Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah announced plans to further ensure economic recovery, including prioritizing completion of existing projects, as Cabinet was pleased with progress made so far.
We are looking to some more structural reforms in the medium term, and these include enhancing the public financial management system to ensure that, among other things, all of these arrears that keep being accumulated off book and which come to hurt us from time to time can be dealt with. So we're trying to encourage every single government entity to get on the GiveMIS platform. We are also trying to, as a result of that, bring some more spending controls. That means that we are going to be tightly spending within the revenue limits of the country. If we don't have revenue for it, we are not going necessarily to be, for whatever expediency reasons, whether it's boring or whatever, working to try to meet it. And we're also going to be working further towards bringing inflation down. The Bank of Ghana has mentioned that they're going to continue with a tight monetary policy to bring us down further from 38, downwards to about the mid-20s by the end of this year, and then about 15 by the end of next year. So that's one of the things that is also being signed off. The exchange rate regime is also something that the government, working with the central bank, seeks to maintain so that we don't have any significant further slippages even as we get towards the end of the year.
The Ofosi-Ayerebe Member of Parliament insists that government will do all it can not to overspend in the 2024 election, despite election years having a history of government overspending.
Cabinet has resolved that, despite the fact that 2024 is an election year, focus should be on, one, ensuring that we're able to consolidate the stability, bring inflation further down, ensure that depreciation of the currency is held in abeyance. These are the focal points, as against the traditional view that has been that election year, spend more, introduce new projects with the hope that you're going to win the elections. Cabinet is of the view that the best legacy for the Ghanaian economy is ensuring that the stability is entrenched, inflation is brought further down, depreciation of the currency is further arrested. And so that is the focus that Cabinet has approved for the 2024 fiscal year.
Meanwhile, government says it will in the coming days provide updates on the work of the Interministerial Committee formed to address the havoc caused by the Akosombo Dam spillage. Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah assures that government remains committed to extending support to affected persons while also dismissing reports of soldiers withdrawing from the affected communities.
These are our brothers and sisters in various parts of the region. And the topography is such that some 20 centers have been set up to accommodate people from nearby villages that have been affected by the flooding exercise. And the focus is to ensure that the people who have been relocated to these 20 centers are supported with the necessary, food, sleeping materials, healthcare, etc., so that their situation does not become more precarious than it is now. And then subsequent to that, when the water levels recede, to assist them to go back to their communities. That is the current focus.
So as part of government's measures to ensure that, Ghana recovers, or there is an economic recovery in this country, is that of the tight spending. Hansen, the expenditure reduction is what a lot of people have been calling for. Before even we went to the IMF, people have raised questions with government's expenditure and the funds we rake in and how much we are spending. And I think that if after this 3-day retreat and government is also coming back to say that, as part of the measures, we are still going to control spending, I think that it's a welcoming news, but isn't it too late?
I mean, when it comes to these things, I think that what matters most is the implementation. And so wait for the implementation and see how government will go according to its words. But essentially, government throughout 2022, at the peak of the economic crisis, had maintained that a certain form of cutting government expenditure would be implemented. There were further calls for government to cut expenditure more, even to the extent that there were many calls for reduction in the size of government. Now, what we get from the information minister is that after this 3-day cabinet retreat, what government is seeking to do is to streamline the expenditure of various agencies and institutions so that the things that they first spend that are usually not captured within their books. And so there seems to be no record of these officially, of these expenses, which later are brought into the books of these institutions and pushes the arrest of these various institutions, thereby increasing the debt of government will be checked. And so cabinet is seeking to enforce the expenses through the gift miss system, which is a system that has been designed to make sure that for every single thing that is being paid for, it goes according to the Public Financial Management Act. The second policy decision we get from this cabinet meeting is that the central government on its own is not going to spend beyond the revenue that it has. What has been our issue with our budget, that at every point in time, our expenditure exceeds our revenue.
Which makes sense that we have a deficit.
And that we have a deficit. And then government usually will have to close this deficit by borrowing either from the local market or in the international market. Reason we've had to do a debt exchange program, either the domestic one or the international one. And so what cabinet is seeking to do on the second leg is to make sure that government expenses are in line with the revenue that we have. And so in drawing up central government budget, perhaps and we know that in November, the 2024 budget will be read. And so from this cabinet meeting, what we should be getting is that government may be hoping to reduce the deficit and only make expenditure apportions for things that government has revenue to do. I mean, I've already said that these are things that people have always been calling for. And so if government says it's going to do it, it's fine. But the point has to do with that going according to your words. And so we will only wait for it to see the budget for 2024, how things will shape and government's own spending character. But beyond this, I think that what, again, the government should look at is what may be described as unnecessary expenses. And so, yes, you would want to spend within your revenue, but are we spending judiciously? Which is basically the focus of economists, that we have limited resources, but unlimited needs.
Our needs are insatiable.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of things that have to be done.
And so we need to use these resources judiciously. Government said it was going to cut discretionary spending, but when issues like the purchasing of iPhones for board members and management members of BOST comes in, it comes to question if indeed government is going according to what it's been saying. And so aside spending within our means, we should also put some focus on what these people are really, these government institutions and agencies are really spending on. Are they spending on necessary things? Or they are buying phones for people who can afford them?
You made mention of something, that is the implementation. So you just wait and see how these things that government has listed in terms of ensuring that the economy is recovered, and how its implementation will be done. Very important. But let's move away from this story. And the National Fire Service is urging the public to strictly adhere to safety precautions following Saturday's inferno at the Makola market.
Fire Service has contended assertions that it delayed in dousing a fire at the Makola shopping mall on Saturday, October 21, 2023. The fire, which lasted several hours, gutted over 200 shops and makeshift structures, mostly containing perfumes and wigs. Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, Timothy Afum, in an interview with Citi News, said effective fire management should be a collective responsibility. Citi News' Fauzi Masodu has the rest of the story.
Known for its bustling nature, Accra's biggest marketplace, Makola, is recently bedeviled with frequent infernos. From shops, eateries, and offices, none is spared of the brunt of the fire. A similar incident that occurred on Saturday, October 21, at the popular Makola shopping mall, leading to many losses, has largely been attributed to the unhurried response from the National Fire Service to douse the fire.
Fire service here, but I charm me. I'm back. I'm a bit. I'm back. I'm back. Like Chojo Ba. Echo Shana charm me. Some fool ya. Take our back. How quick.
Yes, now. A wood in my dada. We all yes, marketing penny for no, and I'm marketing penny for no more. Some yes, no. And my office will be soon ready inside. Any man be broby so or quano Janet block, me say me qua me meet me doom bibia answer my coffee. A car shops tray, Nanka, the shop of fire ship, Banyamiado manshi.
The skility no honoma, Sanoma winning a 2 big skility any honti. Mlebiana jatum, Lebiana jatum. Men so my drench repa no. And a Fabio breeze so lightings and some so say a buyman and you call home. Maybe wires be cambo ma nede. And also one thing and a secondary gas. A man for use gas the share almost awesome and I don't know upon one way jawoko. It light torture a toma na a fire baby.
But the Ghana National Fire Service disagrees. Public Relations Officer Timothy Afum, while recounting the challenge personnel from the fire service encountered in dousing the fire, urged traders to take safety precautions in the market.
Anytime there is an incident and people lose their properties, that is always what they see. And the fire service didn't arrive early, and the fire service didn't arrive early. You see, I have always been saying that fire management is a responsibility of all of us. It depends on the time that we are informed. It took us just 2 minutes to get to the scene. When the first appliance from Makola, we have a station there, got there in that 2 minutes, they realized the fire was too big for them to handle. That is why they called for what we term multiple pumps. Multiple pumps means they call all the fire stations that were available. And that is how come we managed to mobilize 9 fire tenders to the scene at a go. What made the items burn were the explosions that occurred. Initially, the explosions were minor explosions until the bigger one that we have to retrieve and go back. And so if you store things in your store without adequate protection and it spread the fire, why do you tend to blame us? You know that you are storing chemicals in your shop and it is not allowed. And now you tend to blame us. What do you expect us to do?
He further explained that the cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained.
We are still conducting our investigations. We've not been able to come up with any preliminary results yet. So we cannot make anything public now.
Fire outbreak in Accra's biggest market, Makola, is fast becoming a norm, and traders fear the implications could be grave if not nipped in the bud. They are thus calling on all relevant authorities to join hands in combating this menace. For Citi News, Fauzi Masodu, Makola, Accra.
And this is not the first time we are recording an incident of this nature at this same place, that is the Makola market. And even before that, we recorded another one too at Kejitia market. But the fire service, I think they're also doing their part of the bargain because they keep educating the public and all that. And you could tell from what Mr. Afum was saying that he's like, you are having combustible materials in your warehouse or wherever you are doing your business, and that there are threats of fire outbreaks. So I think that maybe traders must be well informed about these things, because anytime these incidences do happen, they go in there to educate the public.
I think that the facts on the ground may prove that the fire service may have failed when it comes to fires within the Makolo market. I don't think that the role of the fire service is only to fight fire, but they have an integral part of their role to prevent fire outbreaks, and that is why they have the mandate to inspect properties to make sure that the various fire safety mechanisms are available to prevent some of these things. By now, the National Fire Service should be pushing for an inquiry into the fire safety situation within the Central Business District and even other Central Business Districts across the country. We should not wait for a time when these fire outbreaks will occur and then we'll have to lose precious human lives before we act. It's happened one too many times that I think we ought to put a stop to it. And it's important that at this moment, the Ghana National Fire Service decide not to investigate the isolated cases, but treat it as an entire issue and try as much as possible to understand what exactly is happening with the Central Business District. If it has to do with combustible materials, how then do you make the place fireproof enough for these combustible materials? If it has to do with the rewiring of the entire Central Business District, should we do so? Who should pay for the cost? Is it the traders? All these are options that we need to look into and use to make sure that we avert an impending disaster, because for every month or at most every 2 months, you get a fire situation within the Central Business District. We've not even talked about the livelihoods of people, the income of people. There are those who may not be able to start again and get to where they are. And that is pushing a lot more people into poverty. The recent World Bank report suggested that a lot more of Ghanaians have been pushed into poverty. It is some of these actions and inactions of people given the authority and mandate to act that continue to push people into poverty, and it shouldn't be so.
Rightly so. So we urge traders to just be careful how they go about their day-to-day activities, and also individuals in their various homes, especially when we are getting to the November, December. Sometimes we experience harmattan here and there, but we have to take caution of all the activities we embark on so that we save lives and property. Away from this story, and residents of Weija, they are calling on authorities to reconsider decision to demolish houses along the Weija Dam.
Now, residents whose houses have been earmarked for demolition along the banks of the Weija Dam by the Ghana Water Company Limited and the Ministry of National Security want authorities to reconsider their decision, since many will be rendered homeless. Central Regional Correspondent Carvis Tete has more in the following report.
The Ghana Water Company Limited sometime last week raised an alarm regarding the state of the Weija Dam and how human activities such as sand winning, building on the buffer of the dam, are destroying the dam. The water distribution company further indicated that part of the Greater Accra region will be without water if human activities along the banks of the dam are not stopped. The Environmental Protection Agency, who took part in the joint visit to the area, laments the health effects of the human activities on the dam to consumers. The residents, whose houses have been earmarked for demolition, are worried for fear of losing their properties and questioned why authorities didn't stop them when they started building until now.
I think it will cause more damage than good to the person. So I think that they should consider us. They should consider us, because you just can't stand on one day just because of the road and those stuff. So you want to demolish people's houses. So we are pleading to the leaders to consider us. Before somebody will build a house over there, you definitely has to see a chief to buy the land. Where were they when the people started building? You sat down, watch one person, 2 people, 3 people build their houses. Then you stand up one day want to demolish. Where were they when they started building the houses? So we are just pleading for them to consider us. In as much as they are trying to do good to the environment, we are also pleading for them to consider us.
Asem we buy no asem kese. So be fie na se wo ba paradise so now be hwe dan a wo ho. Enye mfie mienu mfie miensa nye mfie num mfie du. Mfie du no ni akire ni dan akese abrosan ye to aso nan enum abechrochro won se ye bebu danwe. Ghana water me yeti ase e ma ye hia me ye hu se won ya wo school no e down no when na bibia wo ye no e ko dam ni mu enti se nkrofo wi e na ye bebu wodam wodan yanka bia nsem e na ye behu sa de wi
ube shabrewe bia bra ama chese wetimi esine dan bebi adan ye bedu na the short time you say ye budan we say enya fine ti yesre honorable yesre nana yesre obi ampanyufo nyina say omunye hu bibi man because ebi bo abre because da be na after also start class 1.
Oh, Ghana water for us, but yes, done for the beginning. 20 years in it. Obi American, and the Mumma Kakakra within a short time, most of the Ghana. I guess secondary school or offer. It's a young one. Yeah, you don't cry and yes, because what the secondary school no cry and son on Kawabayo.
Member of Parliament for the Wejagbawe constituency, Tina Na Mensa, expressed worry over the impending demolition and says they will meet with appropriate authorities to find a lasting solution to the matter.
I wasn't here, I was told, so quickly I rushed the people. They had a meeting and I rushed to them. I have to calm them down because some are so agitated that they don't know what to do. I have assured them that myself, together with the MC and the chiefs around the area, and then with Waterwest, we will sit down and then we'll talk of it. We know what to do next. And then the next, maybe we're going to talk. There are people who have built directly in the dam. There are people, I went there myself. It's affecting the dam. We can't have expansion. There are people who are also far. Although it's the land, the Ghana Waterwest says it's a demarcated land, there are people who are far. That we are looking at, we'll put human face to it, and then we're going to let some people off the hook, and then some will be affected.
Residents living along the banks of the Weja Dam are worried for the impending demolition by the Ghana Water Company Limited and the Environmental Protection Agency. They want government to reconsider its decision on the demolition. Carver Stete, Citi News, Weja.
So this demolition is needed, but also the residents are asking government to embark on it with a human face. But the question is, when disaster happens, who bears the brunt? The residents and also the government will have to come to their aid, because what Tina Mensa said, the MP for the area, is having a toll on the expansion of the dam. And in recent times, or for time past, we've had the spillage there when the dam gets full. And we've even gone out there to file reports of people, homes getting flooded as a result of the spillage.
I mean, no doubt that our leaders have failed us, but the citizenry cannot be absolved of blame. Why do I say this? If you're a very responsible citizen and you want to build, what do? You go through the appropriate measures of buying the land. And when you buy the land, the right thing that you should do is that you go to the district assembly, see the town planning, and get an idea of the plan of the town. And then every city in this country, every town in this country has a plan. And let not it be said that there's no plan, has a plan. And then you see that within this area to this area, this is supposed to be used for school. This place is supposed to be used for park. This is a buffer. You can build within here. And even in other jurisdictions, they will tell you that in this particular area, it is this type of building that you can build there. But what do we do as citizens? We get our land, regardless of where it is situated, we start building. And because we've had failed leadership for the over 60 years that Ghana has existed, nobody says anything. At best, what you will see is that produce permits or building to be demolished by so and so and so. It is even in recent times that we are seeing more of these demolitions. But what you see is your red ink, produce permits by so and so and so. And usually that is it. The produce permit will be on the building, and the person will continue to build and finish building. I mean, let's look at the Wager Dam. In previous years, as you've indicated, when it is spilled, this is even when it gets to a point when the integrity of the dam is at stake, and so it has to be spilled so that it doesn't break the dam. Because when the dam breaks, I mean, as far as Tesano
is concerned,
may be affected. Yes. You get it? And so there's every reason why dams should be spilled. And you built close to the dam. And now we are saying that there should be a human face to this.
Well,
we ought to act fast before another danger or disaster comes in.
Danger is looming.
So, of course, the people the authorities who watched on, should be blamed.
That this building should be put up, because one of the interviewees made mention of the fact that before you acquire land, there are processes you must go through. The assembly is also supposed to be aware. And even the individual, where you are buying the land, you have to be sure of what exactly you are doing and how safe that place is. But let's wait and see what the authorities will do about this particular decision. You are still watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV, still to come. Neglected World Bank funded bus terminal in Tamale reflects decay after 7 years. Kindly stay with us, we'll be back with more stories. Welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Let's bring you some more stories. And contractors have abandoned the main Kumasi-Obuasi highway, and which has been earmarked for expansion and rehabilitation. Let's bring you that insight.
Let's now move to the Ashanti region, where contractors have abandoned work on the main Kumasi-Obuasi highway, which was earmarked for expansion and rehabilitation. The project was started after concerns by motorists about increasing crashes and vehicular traffic on the road. Citi News' Ashanti regional correspondent Hafiz Tijani visited the area and filed this report.
Vehicular traffic on the Nkranza-Petit section of the Kumasi-Obuasi highway is distressing to road users and motorists who frequent the stretch. Several lives have been lost due to road crashes, which are common on the stretch, following appeals by motorists and other road users on the traveling difficulty they experience on the stretch. Work was started to expand the road and also give it a facelift. In 2021, some permanent structures along the road were demolished and other temporary ones cleared to make way for the widening of the road. Contractors have since abandoned the site, and motorists say the difficulty difficulty traveling on the stretch has worsened.
Yeah, no Ukrainian meaning I'm why this kwan no mutwa kwan no to hanom no challenge pia ye face no nya asem ketwa kai kwan no amna adamu nya asem ketwa se nsuo to a kai to da kra na untimi nkọ yi se okofa agemasu krom na obi pie domrase sa no akọ se amna eda agemasu ne domase mfimfi ho no unya kwan kra enti sa akọ kakra ne ye bre domase beri a ho no accident si kwan ne so ho no nya asem ketwa amna eda kwan ni mo no enti ke ye be stress ka ban no se kwan so so ye na so onya ma so emeye man a ka poto so wo mu no de ka be sere se ka wo mra na nkomra meye man na draw for ye brepa nso to a titru ye brepa na e fa so emo nam kwan so nipa ni pi nam kwan so nso to a emra ho no ma wonim nti accident tasi kwan so pa nti e be sere ban pi se wo be ye na wonya nwie ya poto so wa na komra mehwe na nkomunye man
amna bi wo ho me say nipa wu ho more than 50 ya kan wasama obi avi hwamna ni from company the size amna ho amna ka sie pa o ka da ka beto mu dia obi e do e be fa no ya kan obi avi eja se sia ye nim de be ka obi asala na politics nya politics ne ye o ya nkasa ya man no ne nya e wo badwiri we egu o wontimi ya jai na ka jai manda hoy osu ye pay for masa wo mo ndwene ho ye youth no mama ya fa ya ho adwen obia basa omokuye no wanyo musika no mko mbabi sara mi manwu no nti masa enye adeketo ande mo ntwade nyina fa nkomo obia he bia fine.
So this is what is happening on that particular road, which is the Kumasi-Obuasi highway. The motorists are complaining, residents are complaining, but do we have the money to continue?
I mean, we need to get the money to continue, and it's important that we try as much as possible to fix this. The issue about roads that they start working on and abandon is that it becomes more difficult to ply on these roads because the intention would have been to, I mean, before you construct, you expand, you have to destroy. And so the road would be in a poorer shape than it used to be. And so it cannot be acceptable that you abandon it. The very essence for which you were doing this, that is to protect lives, you are putting those same lives at risk by abandoning the project. And it's important that authorities will try as much as possible to get the contractors
So government
back.
should just put some focus on what is happening on that particular road. There's a busy road, Kumasi-Obuasi road, at least work on it. It's earmarked for expansion and rehabilitation. They are saying that it's been abandoned for quite some time now. But let's take you to Tamale, where the project there that is funded by the World Bank, that is a bus terminal, that project has been abandoned after completion, 7 years after. Let's bring you that insight.
In Tamale, the capital town of the northern region, a bus terminal funded by the World Bank at a cost of 1.9 million Ghana cedis has been neglected and is deteriorating even after more than 7 years since its construction. Originally designed to reduce congestion, the terminal now stands abandoned, showing signs of decay such as peeling paint, collapsed ceilings, damaged tiles, and weathered roofs. Northern Regional correspondent Shawana Yusuf provides further insights in this report.
Once envisioned as a solution to ease traffic congestion in the Tamale metropolitan area, the Datoili bus terminal, funded by the World Bank, has now transformed into a dilapidated structure, with its promise fading amidst neglect and vandalism. Constructed in 2015 by the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, the terminal, supported by the Urban Development Grant (UDG), was designed with various amenities to cater to the needs of commuters and drivers. However, it now stands desolate, a victim of neglect and exposure to the elements. The terminal, equipped with essential facilities such as parking lodge, resting rooms for drivers, washrooms, passenger stands, and a security lodge, has succumbed to the onslaught of nature. Weeds have overrun the premises, and the theft of various components, including electrical cables, air conditioners, toilets, louvers, and light bulbs, has exacerbated its decline. Alhaji Amadou Seidu, the chairman of the GPRTU in the Northern region, expressed his group's readiness to relocate on condition that other buses not covered under their permit also undertake the move.
Assembly, Antandanang, but I bought that yet to move it young man. Do me want to move now, but Della keep it out to state on Conco Abdella into move it young man. To move Conco is young man to my chimma. The metamale system, system man, the Gadaba need a company. To no Conco you move it, that's when Tama in Electratuna, to the counter parliament and Panamani. So I can your basket back Tamal Tamponi, Kayan Portezi, not a hard to yell. Not to think. Then that's a anti-Tama, Catabato Mofisa. Then there currently me, one canapon, but I cannot meet it. By states a man teaching the money. Some time Chanama Pabuta, Monopama, Catan to you, Poloma. Catia Poloma, the Madrid, the Mumadi Samne, Catio, the Bezakhan, but the neighbor to Ponyala. We take the baton in my eyes.
Off camera, some drivers voice apprehension about relocation, fearing potential repercussions on their businesses. They urge the mayor to enforce a comprehensive relocation plan for all long-distance vehicles to ensure a seamless transition. In a recent interview, Amadou Mustafa Zakaria, the public relations manager at the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, disclosed ongoing consultations with various stakeholders to facilitate the potential revival of the terminal's operations.
In the past, we used to have the resistance by these transport operators for the relocation, and here again, it's not typical of this. We really have to engage them. The fears they are expressing, yeah, they are legitimate, they are genuine. It takes engagements to figure out what can be done to address that. We can actually foresee that challenge coming, and it's part of the reason we are continuously engaging the industry players. We're hoping that we'll reach consensus for the good of everybody. Yeah, as an assembly, our role is to facilitate the movement. We create the facility for use by these industry players, and we know when they welcome that, we're going to be something that will benefit society and benefit the assembly as a whole. It's not easy, admittedly, but it is doable.
Meanwhile, Citi News understands that the paramount chief responsible for the area housing the terminal has demanded compensation for affected community members before any relocation effort can be initiated.
It's been over 4 years since the completion of the Datoili bus terminal, which was supposed to house all long-distance buses from the Tamale township in order to decongest the town. But the Metro Assembly has still not succeeded in getting drivers of long-distance vehicles to relocate to the Datoili bus terminal. Hence, the facility is left to rot. Weeds are taking over the place. The roofing sheets, the ceilings are all ripped off, and then even paints are peeling off. The washroom is left in a very terrible state. All the glasses that has been used to make the doors and the windows have all been broken. The question now is, what happens to the 1.9 million Ghana cedis World Bank funding?
So that report was filed by Shawana, our Northern Regional Correspondent. But Hansi, this is troubling. $1.9 million, or Ghana cedis rather, and it's been left to rot.
There's an issue about bus terminals that we need to look at carefully. I don't seem to get it, right? Look at the Achimota bus terminal. It is rarely used. And I think there's another bus terminal.
I don't want to
at Adenta.
Yes, that was done for the BRT.
Yeah, I don't seem to. So perhaps because if it was just one bus terminal, and it's not as though it's not completed, all these bus terminals are completed. What usually is the difficulty? Maybe we should get to speak to these drivers. I don't know what their difficulty is in parking there, particularly for the Tamale ones. Because even for the Achimota one, what we sometimes get is that the passengers end up coming to the Achimota Old Station and then pick vehicles because the person is going to Accra. There's a vehicle coming all the way from Amasaman.
Yes.
And so the person feels it's a long walk all the way to the terminal. But even that is not an excuse for us not to be using a bus terminal that we've built with taxpayers' money. And in this instance, it has been built to decongest the city. And the drivers are not using it. We need to look at what the problem is really in the non-usage of the bus
speechless because looking at this facility, 1.9 million Ghana cedis, and looking at the washrooms and all that, and we are proud of ourselves as a country. You are watching CNR Extra here on CCTV. Still to come. Thousands of residents affected by devastating floods caused by the Akosombo Dam spillage received relief items from Citi FM, Citi TV. Let's stay with us. We'll be back with more stories.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Find us on channel 363. On GoTV, we're on channel 117. And on HD Plus, get us on channel 108. On a digital TV, run a new search, but take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV. Citi TV can be accessed on any free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and HD Plus boxes. Citi TV, it's your world.
Welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on CGTV. Let's bring you some more stories. And thousands of individuals who were affected by the Akosombo Dam spillage have started or received relief items from Citi FM, CGTV. Let's bring you that insight.
Thousands of residents affected by the devastating floods caused by the spillage of the Akosombo Dam have received relief support from Citi FM and Citi TV. The donation, which was funded by benevolent listeners and viewers of Citi FM and Citi TV, saw items such as food, water, medical supplies, and safety equipment donated to the victims of the flood. The beneficiaries, in return, have expressed appreciation to the media organization. Citi News' Hansen Ajiman has the rest of the story.
It all began as a quest to tell the stories of the over 12,000 victims of the flooding caused by the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. It, however, turned into a humanitarian drive for support for these victims, as management of Citi FM and Citi TV could not look the other way after encountering the sorry condition of these victims. Life literally has come to a standstill in the about 12 communities within these three regions affected by this devastating situation. Homes have been submerged. Hitherto tourist destinations have turned into ghost towns, with victims at risk of an impending health crisis. The call to action by Citi FM and Citi TV began with requests for benevolent listeners and viewers of Citi FM and Citi TV to donate towards the cause, which was oversubscribed. Saturday's donation was the second since the request. Prior to the departure on Saturday, the goods were on Friday, October 20, diligently loaded onto trucks. On the day of the scheduled donation, volunteers, including staff and management of Citi FM and Citi TV, as well as medical volunteers, took a trip from the premises of Citi TV at Tesano to the various affected communities in the Volta region and in the Greater Accra region. Ahead of the journey, management of Citi FM and Citi TV, led by the Managing Director Samuel Atamensa, addressed volunteers on the focus of the exercise, particularly on the medical outreach.
We here, we don't know anything about your work. Now, all we know is that some people are in trouble. And we have gone to solicit for help. And we have bought medicines as per your own request. Everything you ask for has been provided. If you ask me what ailments are there, I don't know. So it's for you to determine as we go who is not well, who needs what, and all that. And then any support outside of that space, we can also come in.
The first stop for the team was Sukpe, in the Southern district near Sogakope. At Sukpe, the team was met with victims of the flood who could not hold their excitement at the decision to be included in this benevolent gesture. But before putting smiles on their faces, the team took time to carefully divide the goods into 3 separate batches with separate team leads. The medical team, facilitated by the management of Citi FM and Citi TV, also provided medical support to the victims who have endured various conditions within the past 2 weeks, a practice reciprocated in other communities visited.
So we have medications from anti-malarials to hematinics to antibiotics to analgesics. All of these are some of the medications that we have brought in. So we would interact first with the local people, and then we know exactly what is wrong with them, and then we can serve them.
Chief of Sokpe, upon citing the support provided for his people, could not hold his joy.
We thank those people coming to help us. Citi TV, everybody that is here to help us, we are very grateful to you, but we ask for more, if possible.
A former DC who received the goods on behalf of the people gave the assurance that the relief support will indeed be shared fairly.
A lot of people are already here. This says will not move anywhere until all those who deserve will get it. I said earlier that there are a few people who may not get because of the numbers, but at least what is here, all will go to the direct beneficiary whose list we already have here. I assure the team that everybody who is here, who is on that list, will get all what is here until they get finished.
Even though most of the affected persons in Sokpe had been evacuated to safe havens, team lead Richard Delasky could not resist the temptation of assessing the impact of the spillage on the community. To his surprise, flood water, evidently mixed with human excreta, had taken over most of the places observed from a canoe provided by the inhabitants. The second team, led by Bernard Avle, on the other hand, took a visit to Mafi Aklamado and New Bakwe. Unlike their counterparts in other communities, getting accommodation spaces was not a difficulty. Leaders of the community, however, were worried about the setback the situation has caused to the education of their wards.
Our students are still in the house. We need reading books a lot. We need a lot of things so that we can engage them, a temporary structure that they can start going to school.
Citi FM and Citi TV donated items including water purifiers, foodstuff, toiletries and disinfectants to the communities.
On behalf of the listeners of Citi FM
and the viewers of Citi TV, we present this water purifier and all the other items listed here to you, the people who are here.
A former MP of the constituency, who's a benefactor to about 200 victims, called for more help.
Happy to be hosting them. It is our expectation that we'll be able to, in the short term, be able to settle our people and see into the medium and the long term.
I have a message from those who were taken by the river and the people that we have to thank you sincerely for your coming to our aid. The people are plenty and we need more logistics to cater for them.
The team led by Vivian Kailuko encountered the unmotorable nature of the roads due to the floods. The situation was worse to the extent that one of the trucks hauling goods to be donated got stuck in the mud. But the team persevered and got the items, including food, water, and medical supplies, to the affected residents. It emerged that the donation from Citi FM and Citi TV was the first to be received by the residents. The team also encountered an interesting approach used by the residents to facilitate their transportation. KFC was available in all communities to provide free meals for the kids. Citi News' Bernard Avle, after the donation, gave an assessment of the exercise.
Not every area affected by flooding has a site or a camp. For some communities, people put up with friends and family, but they know those who have been affected. So you may not necessarily see a camp like we saw in some of the communities, but there are people who have been displaced, putting up with friends and other people who need support.
Aside these, an advance team led by Umaru Sanda Amadu was also in Ada, where some island communities were greatly affected. A trip to these communities revealed that majority of the houses in these islands had been submerged, with their owners seeking refuge in other communities. The team offered a helping hand to these victims as well.
Lofonyo ni kaya ne wake fon TV ono ne jionkla na kan problem ji no ne ne wade jionke problem ba adan ke suga copy ke asutware ke popan slot in lo wan la ne awawo ayebo ko ne waba ayebo anyi le wade meke aha support le anukwale ne wa cheme aha ni fu lo wake omo ke baneji rice wake galiba wake befo humba wake yo neji beans mosquito net mudon wa chere yolo good wake mosquito net ba wake tadehi ke huke ba le wake mosquito coil huke ba wan here wa dem laundry soap neji jali na ke ma foni na ke ma sani wake ba le wan here sickly neji sugar le wan here wa dem mattress neji vono mattress wake poison yo le na ke ba ni ne asachoni ya he ko ni na kan no ebe ko ni ma wo e wasn't zugban jalo ke chacha ke for zugban lo ke no ba han ko o ya wo no na nga hiyo neji nono neji William ke Mr. Sewonu wa ke ma wu adin le me na magba ke hanye
Mada Salem Agokpo ma na name ke pediatrokope ma na name ni mo ka na Citi FM ke Citi TV makanda missing ke nenemene ayike bua.
So we couldn't have done this without your help, and I want to say a very big thank you to each and every one of you who donated. And like Oliver Twist, we are still asking for more so that we can give to the affected individuals. You can make your Momo available on 0550 9000006, or you can also make your donations available at CTF behind the Adabraka police station, so that we can also help others who are affected. You were there, just brief, 30 seconds.
I mean, it's a good one, and the good thing about donation was that it was targeted. Even though a lot of people are helping, it appears the help is concentrated in certain places. And so what we did was to find these other communities where they've not had any help. So like Agbeve, for instance, when we went there, they had not had any form of support from anybody. And that was the first form of support. And so it's important that we acknowledge that a lot more communities, and even though people are sending support, we shouldn't concentrate it at one place.
Okay, rightly so. And we know a lot of more people are making donations available, corporate institutions and individuals. Thank you so much in advance. My name is Philip Nilate. I did the show with Hansen Ajiban. Many thanks for your time as always, and keep watching Citi TV.